Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be checking out these awesome TV headphones over here. Now, this product was sent to me to review, but I'm here to give you my honest opinions on it. So let's go ahead and take a look at everything. Here's the actual box that it comes with. So you can see right over here, we do have these 40mm audio drivers, which is pretty awesome. We have an optical cord as well, RCA and auxiliary. So that's all going to be found right over here. So you're going to see that we have this RCA adapter right here. Very simple and easy to go ahead and use. So if you wanted to use that, you can plug in that way. Now, if you want to plug in and you want to use optical, it's very simple. So you're going to find that right over here. What I did is I went ahead and actually removed this. So I want to show you guys this really quickly. Look at the difference between these two. You're going to find that one has a plastic cap on it and the other does not. Let's focus in. So just like that right over there, you can see one has it, one doesn't. So you want to make sure that you actually remove that little plastic piece when you are using this. So I already removed it off of here because what I want to do next is show you guys on this charging hub that we have. Check this out right over here. You want to make sure that you plug this in properly by taking off that piece. So you want to take off that plastic piece, and then all you want to do is make sure that you have the correct side in, and that cable, that optical cable, should go in very easily. Now, another quick tip that I also want to mention is when you are using this, make sure that when it comes to this optical cable, so you have one side going into your TV, one side going into here, but you want to be very careful and not have any sort of 90-degree angles because this actual cable does have glass inside of it as well. So it's very high quality and durable material, but obviously at a 90-degree angle, that's where you start to risk any sort of like breakage. So just make sure you keep that in mind. Now on the side, you have an off and on switch right over there. So very simple, you go ahead and use that. Let me show you the rest of the back ports over here. We have an auxiliary that's going to be found over here. So check that out. There's that auxiliary port, so if you want to use aux or if you want to use that auxiliary to RCA adapter, very simple and easy to do. And then right over there as well, we also get that Type-C. Let me show you guys right over here once more. So we have that Type-C, we have the auxiliary there. Now that we got that out of the way, here is how this thing actually remains charged. So you're going to take this portion here, you're just going to go ahead and plug that right into that wall adapter. You're going to plug this into the wall, and then this portion here will get plugged into the back of the hub right over there. Now, if you wanted to go the auxiliary route instead of the optical, you can do that. It's very simple. You just plug this portion into this back port. And then if you want to use the RCA cables once more, very simple. You just go ahead and place it on just like that. Now, let's get into the actual headphones. So let me go ahead and show you guys these. Obviously, they're right over here. Now, one thing that I personally like about them is they're very, very comfortable, and if you wanted to as well, you can go ahead and fold them up. So when you want to store them away, you can, but I personally like storing them on the actual dock. So the dock does keep these things charged. Let me show you guys how that actually works. So you want to make sure that you have the left and right. You never have to question what's left and right because it's obviously marked inside of here for us, inside of that 40mm portion. So it has this nice sort of leather to the sides of it as well. Take a look at that. It's that sort of like nice memory cushion, so you can see it does a good job conforming. Now, another important step is right over here. You're going to find that there's these little pins inside of here. That's how the actual headset is going to charge. So when you are doing this, you want to make sure that you have the correct side, the one with the pins right over here. And you want to make sure that you're not just going straight down, because if you did, it's not going to go in. So just go in at a bit of an angle and drop it in just like that, and you're good to go from there. So it's very, very simple and straightforward to understand. Now, another cool thing that I want to go ahead and show you guys is give you a little closer look at this. So they also tilt outwards. So look at that. L and R, just like I mentioned earlier. Now, it is very adjustable as well. So that's one thing that I like, because you can watch TV at night, for example, and if somebody else is next to you and they want to use the headset, well, it's very simple for them to go ahead and actually just adapt it to their own head, which is pretty cool. Now, with that being said, I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's actually on. So just like that. Very cool. I really do like it. Now, one thing that I personally like about it a lot is as soon as I put it on, I essentially don't hear anything around me, which is pretty cool. So everything outside of the headphones actually sounds a little muffled. And then everything inside is actually going to give me that audio, which is pretty cool. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about as well is there's an off and on switch, and it has feedback. So listen to this. When I go ahead and power it on. So you can hear that it's pairing, and then power off as well. So you will know when it's off and on. Obviously, you can look at the slider, you can look at the little LED light, or you could also go ahead and just wait for that audio cue where it says power on or power off. So very awesome, super comfortable, really high quality. I would highly recommend these. I hope you guys found this review helpful. And there is one more thing that I do want to actually mention. Right over here, there's a user manual. Inside of the user manual, depending on the TV that you actually have, there's a complete breakdown for each one. So like, for example, you'll see here, this is for LG TV TV right there. If I go ahead and flip over to the next page, I can find a whole other set of TVs. So we have Samsung, we have Sony, everything is right over there for us. Really, really do appreciate that. So once more, hope you guys found this review helpful today. Have a nice day.